Thanks for checking out Wayne.com for this week's edition of Inside the Zone with Blake Sebring from the News Sentinel. And Blake, man, I feel like a broken record because we kept saying, hey, every week the comments, wow, they've played another great week of hockey. Wow, they've played another great week of hockey. They played another pretty darn good week of hockey.
No,
Blake.
they didn't.
Oh,
and I will beg to differ with you.
I don't want to hear that.
I will beg to differ with you. Sorry.
Is that
they
just,
played adequate last week?
That just because of the level of competition, you think?
Partly, that was also having 5 days off beforehand.
Yeah.
Not having Shaffy, not having Cody, not having Haji for Friday night. A lot of things like that. They reshuffled the lines, and I don't know why. I can't get an answer.
Maybe just to
a lot
test
of
things
things
out. I mean,
it could be. A lot of things. I thought, you know what? My biggest takeaway from this, Brian Gratz is one heck of a good coach. He had them so baffled Friday night. They were looking around, they're like, what are they doing? And they couldn't figure it out until the second period, and then they got it, and then the overall talent dominated.
Right.
But, I mean, he had them on their heels. And I'm like, this is almost a last-place team, and they're making you guys look average.
Well, it's funny that you say, like, so weak, because they come up with 2 wins, and most people will be like, wow, man, you go 2-0 in a week. That's a heck of a weekend.
I know.
But I guess that's where the bar is right now
it's
for
amazing,
the Komets,
isn't it? I mean,
which is a great problem to have.
I mean, what is it, 16-1-1 now? You know, and you're nitpicking, you know, I mean.
11-0-1 in their last 12.
And they really did do a great job defensively. They really did shut them down, and Michael Hauser was great. I mean, holding him without a shot in a period. You know, I mean, all that kind of stuff. It was wonderful, that part of it. Which we talked about last week, we wanted to see them get better at.
I'm glad you mentioned Michael Hauser because the numbers, going through the things that staggered my mind. Friday against Greenville, Hauser only faced 15 shots. I mean, he stopped 14 to 15, and then you come back on Saturday, you say, well, maybe that's a fluke.
The goal that went in was a fluke, too. Yeah.
So you're talking about in literally 2 games, that's only 15 shots that he faces in regulation. That's an entire weekend of hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, C.J. Mott faced 29 in a period not all that long ago. How do the Komets, is it part of Gratz's philosophy and Greenville's philosophy and just the talent level? Because just looking at those numbers, they blew my mind.
Well, Glenn, it's like we talked about. When they want to play defense, they can play defense really well. And they can stifle teams. I mean, it was more of Greenville couldn't get through the neutral zone to even get shots. They only attempted 7 shots on goal in the second period. Now, they didn't go on goal in that the only way a shot gets counts is if it would have went in if the goalie didn't make the save, okay? Mm-hmm. And the Komets off-ice officials are very, very structured and very strict about what's a shot on goal, to their credit. They've been doing it a long time. Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing. They're experts at it. So they attempted 7 shots on goal, and not one of them would have been on net. So, but there was also, you can hear Gary from the bench, stay up, stay up. What he means is stay up at the red line with the defensemen so that they got to make a move and so the forwards can catch up and take the puck away. And they were doing that great. And he says, you'll stay up at the blue line, same thing, so that they can't just waltz into the blue line. And then when they do get inside the zone, they're always shove them wide. I mean, it looks like the defensemen are racing to catch up, but actually, no, they're pushing the angle so that they have to go wide. They don't have anything to shoot at.
I want to talk a little bit about this stretch because you wrote an article. I just read it right before the show. Really good stuff. Broke down a lot of numbers.
It's critical right now.
About how crucial this 10-game stretch is. And we talked a little bit about it. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but 8 of 10 on the road, 5 straight on the road, 10 games in 19 days in 8 cities.
This is going to determine everything for the regular season. And now, the regular season doesn't mean squat for the playoffs. It means absolutely nothing other than positioning.
Home ice is pretty important.
It could, but because, and the reason it doesn't mean anything, because you don't know what the other guys are going to have on their roster. You know, the Komets pretty much know right now what their postseason roster is going to look like. You have no idea what Toledo's roster is going to look like. You have no idea what Kalamazoo's roster or Cincinnati's roster will look like for playoffs, because it can be totally different because it depends on how their guys get sent down from the AHL. Does their AHL affiliate make the playoffs? Blah, 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 okay? So any of those teams could load up and have a superpower team after finishing 4th.
Why is the Komets roster so set by comparison to those teams?
Because they've got the guys like Thompson and Sidlowski and Cody will be back, and Shasma, the guys who've been here all year. There's a chance Cheek could get called up. There's a chance that Marco Waugh could get called up, although he's going to have to go to 1 or 2 places to actually be eligible for the playoffs, because the AHL has a minimum that you got to play there too. So he'd have to go up real soon if he's going to go, that type of thing. So these guys are all here. And some of these guys, don't quote me on this, but some of them might even turn down attempts to go up because...
To win a championship?
To win a championship. They feel that way about this team. It was fun. I was talking to Justin McDonald the other day, who is probably the 25th guy on a 25-man roster and loves that spot. He thrives in it. And I'm not insulting him in any way because that guy is making himself an ECHL career this year. And he talked about how he walked in the room before he'd ever played the game. He had just gotten released by Adirondack. He was driving back to Evansville in the SPHL, and Gary calls him, and he detours, and he shows up just in time for warm-ups. And he said, before I ever even started getting dressed, I could tell this team was different. I could tell that these guys were close, and they were so confident, and they knew they were going to go out and win. He goes, I can't tell you how much different that is from other places. And these guys actually like each other, which is just huge. I mean, you could see it when Artie scored the goal in overtime the other day, and they go over to the side there. It's just where he went, and you've got all the injured guys standing outside Joe's office, banging on the glass from the other side. That is them. I mean, these guys knew they had something special in November, and then that's what we're seeing play out.
February, 10-0-1 thus far. They win on Tuesday. They go undefeated in regulation in the month of February.
And the one loss they got, it took 60 saves.
and how would you describe this month, and what would it mean to go, essentially 11-0-1? What would it mean to have a month where you go essentially undefeated?
Well,
I know it's a short month. It's February. It's 28 days.
Yeah,
Whatever.
12 games in 28 days ain't easy.
Yeah,
you know.
True.
Look at it this way, Glenn. We talked about how December we felt like they were doing it with chemistry as much as anything else, and they hadn't put it all together. This month, they really showed flashes of putting it together. They did it with offense in the first part of the month. They're doing it with defense in the last part of the month, and that chemistry has not slipped at all. If anything, it's strengthened. I mean, they are still getting better. That's pretty cool, and this is how you show it. Now, March will be much, much tougher, starting with 8 and 10 on the road. But this month really prepared them for that, just like March is going to prepare them for the playoffs.
When you take a look at some of the recent moves as far as the roster, Brandon Lubin added today, so they added a defenseman, 26-year-old guy, a lot of experience in the SPHL. I think last year was like his first season in the ECHL, if I recall.
Needed to have a body because Cody and Jamie are out. I mean, you've only got 6 defensemen. What if somebody gets hurt? You can't just go call somebody and bring them to Kansas City, fly them in. You got to take them with you, type thing.
What did you make of the Logan Nelson trade to get another defenseman? Was it another body issue to get?
It was
Cortez?
Another body issue because Cody was going on IR because of his elbow surgery.
When do you anticipate Cody back, and what is the timeline?
Everybody
for
I've
that?
talked to said he'll be back for the playoffs. And if you know Cody, I'm guessing a week before that because he's aching to play right now. He didn't want to have the surgery, but it needed to be done. And I have a feeling he'll be better even because he'll be healthy. He's been playing with one arm for a while.
How much does that hurt them? Because we've talked a lot about how solid the 6 core defensemen have been and how few major injuries.
Let's
that they
just
have
say
suffered.
that you want to read Friday's story that I'm going to run about.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah,
we got spoiler alert.
Spoiler, a big one, and you'll understand how lucky they got with that trade. Okay. Let's leave that there for right now.
Okay. There you go. We're teasing ahead. This is how it works in television and in the newspaper and in the media. We want to keep your attention going forward.
I really, really want to tell you, but I can't tell you until Friday.
That's okay. That's why they come.
It's really cool. It's one of those things that, how come this only happens to the Komets? It's one of those cool things. Like how come when guys come back from Europe after a year they come back? Or why did Colin come back from Europe twice? And why did PC come back? And why did Guy come back after 8 years? It's one of those, why did Hadji come back? It's one of those things that only seems to happen to the Komets.
I love that you mentioned PC Druin just there a second ago because I was kind of looking up, Sean Sidlowski is leading the ECHL in points with 53 games down.
Yep.
Obviously, they've got 19 to go. What are the odds you think? I related it to the year PC had 98 points, which was 08-09.
Finished with yes. Had 3 games to go and he got hurt.
Right, which was was a wrist if I remember.
Yes.
And that was a heartbreaker because you're like, this guy's gonna make triple digits. That's awesome.
We hadn't had somebody since Chinner in '94, I think, that had 100 points.
And Marino had I checked it up. Marino had 88 in the 13-14 season.
Yep.
Do you think at this? I crushed all the numbers. Sadlowski, if he plays all the games at the rate that he's playing right now, he's going to end up with right at 91 points. I would imagine you would rest him a little bit. He's not a spring chicken.
He's not a rest guy, though.
No, but you do want him 100% for the playoffs. How does this rank in recent seasons, like PC, like Brandon Marino, like those guys that we've seen
Luciano Aquino, Bobby Stewart,
that have gotten to the 80, 90, close to triple-digit numbers?
It's pretty cool because unlike a lot of guys, I'm not saying those guys per se, it's been every night. He's got 1 point every night just about. I mean,
it hasn't been a 7-point night.
Right. No, it hasn't been a 5-goal night. It hasn't been. It's been really good consistency, and it's been playing really well defensively. I think he's like plus 26. I mean, he's really been the leader. He's been the face of the franchise for 3 or 4 years. You feel like this year his leadership stuff really stepped up big time. And I'm not saying he was a bad leader before. He's just taking it to another level.
How would you rank it compared to like PC? Because PC at the time that PC was on the team, Chalker was there. They had Huck was there probably. You had a bunch of guys who had been here. Guy. Sure. Shaffy was probably there.
I would look at it. I feel like anything I say is going to be insulting to Sid or to PC, and that isn't the point.
That's why we put you on the spot.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. PC got hot late, if I recall correctly, and had an outstanding second half. I mean, it was like that. Everybody knew PC had the skills, and you were just waiting for him to do the overall game. And that was when he just dominated. He took off and just owned that season. I feel like Sid has done a really good job at helping Garrett Thompson and Mason Baptista, and he's really helped lift everybody this year. Does that make sense? I mean, he's done a very good job. How many points has he gotten off of using his defensemen? I mean, a ton. He comes around that wing, and instead of just flipping it back to the guy on the right, he'll go cross ice to the left, shot, bang, deflection, goal, or whatever. I mean, he's really opened up other people's games with the way he's playing. Now, I still wish he would quit giving the puck away near the blue line of his own zone. I mean, that's the major flaw the Komets have right now, is they give away too many turnovers high in the offensive zone, which sometimes leads to attempts on the other end. I mean, they got to stop doing that. Haji, Cheek, Sid, all those guys, they all do it. And it's just like, remember how last year we used to always gripe about the toe drag? Well, this year it's giving away the puck high in the offensive zone, That's the thing. But I'm amazed at Sid, because you think about it. When have the Komets ever had a player this skilled who's this tough? Yeah. Who plays defense like this, who can make everybody better, who can just do everything and does, stands up for teammates. First guy in when somebody gets cheap shot. Yeah. He's not thinking, I'm the star, I got to stay on the ice. Oh, no, he's right there in that guy's face. Right. I mean, man, how long has it been since the Komets? Scott Gruel? It's 25 years since you can think about somebody to compare to him and what he's doing.
Well, that is impressive in its own right. 2 things I want to touch on before we wrap things up. Your expectations for this week, because this starts that stretch. You've got a Tuesday night game at Wichita, and then 2 games at KC Friday, Saturday, and then again a game at Quad City on Sunday. That's a pretty grueling schedule. Yeah. It's almost like you wish that Tuesday game was like a Wednesday game.
It was kind of like, no, you don't. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Here's why. They left Sunday night. They slept all night to get there. They got up today, they could have practice. you actually had an extra day of rest in there because of the way the Frankies were able to work the schedule. So you didn't just have to go in and drive in on the game day. You know, you could actually have 2 skates on their ice, and you're good to go. Plus, then you've got, I think it's like 4 hours between Wichita and Kansas City. You got the same thing. It's not like a typical road game at all.
Okay.
You're adjusted. You've got extra rest. You took a few extra bodies. That helps too. And then I think Kansas City to Quad City is like 6 hours, so that's just a regular road game, you know. And then you come home, and then you go to Kalamazoo, which is the real rough one. But no, I'm looking forward to this, and I think they are too because they haven't had to grind too much. They've had a lot of home games of late. They're relatively healthy. If they absolutely have to, Jamie could fly out and meet them Friday or Thursday, you know, in Kansas City if absolutely necessary. They're hoping not. It's nothing serious with him. It's just 3 or 4 things. Let's get it healed up. It's like, let's be smart about this. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how these guys grind on the road and how they're going to play in this stretch, because I think everybody's looking to see how they do in this stretch, because everybody's assuming, oh, they're going on the road for 5. If they win 2 or 3, they'll be happy. I don't think these guys will be happy with that. I really don't, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. I thought it was fascinating that they named Garrett Thompson and Curtis Leonard the alternate captains while those 2 are out. I mean, and then it's another thing where Sid's stepping up too. He's basically the captain now while Jamie's out. I mean, I'm really liking what I'm seeing and how they're reacting to things. I mean, they know they're going to have to play defense on the road. Well, they've played fantastic defense of late, 10 goals in 5 games. You know, I mean, they're doing it.
Well, that you mentioned a lot of injuries, and that was my next question: is who are the guys? What does the injury list look like now, and when can we expect some of the guys back? Because they are names that Komets fans will recognize that are, you know, sitting out and making sure that, you know, not that they're not hurt now, but they definitely want to be ready for the postseason.
Well, Cody's out till playoffs.
Right.
Although, like I said, it wouldn't shock me at all if Cody tried to come back early. That's what Cody does. Jamie, if it was playoffs, would be playing. Marcotte, if it was playoffs, would be playing. And I wouldn't be shocked if he played this week. I think he's eligible to come off IR this week. And then the same thing with McDonald didn't play Saturday. I think he'll play. I mean, they're relatively healthy right now, and which is where they need to be for this kind of stretch.
And they would like to stay that way long term.
Yeah, and there's so much competition for jobs. I mean, you had to get rid of Logan Nelson, which took off a little bit of urgency that way for fighting for jobs. But okay, then Gary's been benching some guys if they screw up. I mean, it's like they're all fighting for ice time and jobs too. I mean, there's a reason guys have come back strong. I mean, there's a reason Zach LaRaza's playing his best hockey of the year right now. He's fresh, he's hungry to stay, and he wants a spot. You know, I mean, there's a reason for McDonald's playing so well too, and all these guys are interchangeable, and they're trying to find who's going to fit where when.
Yeah, LaRaza had a nice goal on Friday night.
He had a great weekend.
Yep. And it's nice to see. Nice to see things are clicking, and of course, we'll have plenty to talk about as this road swing commences next Monday.
It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, it's like I said, this is going to determine a lot of the total impact of the season.
I have one more question before we go. If it goes well, how much more confidence does he give you? And if it doesn't go well, do you just say, bleh?
I don't think this group doesn't say bleh.
Well,
they don't. I mean, no, I get what you're saying. They don't take things for granted. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work with this group. I don't see that at all. I expect 4 wins out of 5. How's that? I mean, I think that's what they expect too.
Yeah.
I mean, and not to put pressure on them. You can't put pressure on them because they're embracing this opportunity. Yeah. I mean, these guys are so focused right now and so tight. It's like, I'm not letting my brother down, and by not giving it my best effort. And right now, their best effort's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is pretty good hockey to see, and of course, we'll be talking about it next Monday right here for Inside the Zone. But for this week, he's Blake. I'm Glenn. We'll see you next Monday talking Komets hockey.